My name's Hank. A couple of years ago I bought this Generac GP5500 Generator, and it's had to run it a couple of times, and it does okay. So I put some gas in it and then opened the gas valve up and had it running, and it was running pretty good. And next thing I know, there's gas running out all over the concrete. So I'm thinking, what is wrong with this thing? So I decided to go ahead and pull the carburetor apart and see if I couldn't find out what was wrong with it. So here's my carburetor over on the side of the engine behind the air filter. So I want to find out where that gas is leaking from, and it's really kind of hard to tell. Okay, the first thing you want to do is pull this air filter off here, the cover off, and then get these out of the way. And we have to go ahead and, well, first off, go ahead and take this breather hose out of your way. It just pulls up out of there. You don't need that. Okay, we've taken the 6 nuts off with an 8mm socket. On the back we used a 10mm wrench to pull the nut off of the back of the housing, and this just pulls straight out. And the only thing we have left holding this on now is the bolts going to the carburetor. So we're going to loosen them up so we can get this filter housing out of our way so we can work on the carburetor. It should just loosen right up like that. Now the carburetor is basically loose, so I'm not going to pull the whole carburetor off. What I want to do is put the nuts back on to kind of stabilize the carburetor, so I can work on it. Not real tight, just enough so it's not going to shake around too much. Now I do have my fuel turned off. That's one thing you want to make sure, that you have your fuel turned off. I'll zoom in on that so you can. So I got my valve off because I don't want any gas coming down on me. Now the problem I was having was when I turned my gas on, it was just dripping out big time. Now, if you open your choke up, you can see down in there, there's a little brass piece that comes up from the bottom of the carburetor where the float is, and that's where the gas comes in at. Well, the gas comes in over here, and it goes back down in the bottom where the float is. So I wanted to pull that float out, see whether it was sticking, what was wrong with it. So I'm going to kind of show you how I did it. Now I'm ready to pull my carburetor apart. I decided not to go ahead and pull the whole thing down off the engine. So I thought I'd just go ahead and work on it in place. I take this little screw out here. It's like a little drain to drain the gas out of that carburetor that's laying in there. Put a rag down there to catch some of those drops coming out of there. Then take a Phillips screwdriver. And these are Phillips screws on the bottom of this. On the inside here, you're going to have to use a short Phillips to get that out. Now, if you can't get this Phillips out, this Phillips head screw out, and it's too tight for you, take a pair of channel locks and grip that stubby Phillips screwdriver and push up on that screwdriver at the same time you try to loosen it to the left. You got to loosen it to the left to get it out. And as you pull this thing apart, you want to inspect it to see if you have anything, any little pieces of dirt or fiber or anything like that. Okay, now we got this little valve off the bottom here. It looks I can't see anything wrong with that. I'm not sure exactly what this does. It looks like some type of solenoid. I always like to go ahead and mark something when I pull it apart. When we pull the bottom of this carburetor off, I always like to just kind of draw a line just to try to get it lined up where it was. It really doesn't make that much difference on this. And then on the bottom you have a nut that's going to hold this together, and you have to use a 14 millimeter wrench on the bottom of this. And just turn it counterclockwise. And I don't see anything wrong with it. It's got a little O-ring around it, so you just want to be careful with these parts. It wouldn't hurt to have some carburetor cleaner and just spray things out, or even if you got an air compressor, take these parts and blow them out a little bit with some air. Here's your float. Now I've had this apart and I fixed the problem. I'm just wanted to show you the problem that I found. Now this little float, what it was my float wasn't sticking, but if you pull this little pin out right here, pull this little pin out, you want to lay everything down so you can find it again. You got this little, like a, I guess you call it a little needle valve. It's got a spring underneath of it. So I went ahead and wiped that off real good and cleaned it up. And it just hinges up here, and as it fills up with gas, this float goes up just like in a commode. It'll cut your gas off. And mine was going up, but it wasn't cutting the gas off. Trying to get this camera set up so you can see as much as possible. I took a Q-tip, and where this little needle valve goes up inside here, it seats on a little brass seat up in there. There's no washer or anything up. I just took a Q-tip and went up in there and just cleaned that seat off up there where that little needle valve goes up in there. And I think it doesn't take much for that not to seat. This is a brand new carburetor, so I knew it wasn't a defect. It had to be just some debris, or maybe from sitting and not using it that much. So then you just take the pin and slide the pin back in there. I took the pin itself, this little pin here, took some real fine sandpaper and sanded it down a little bit. You want to make sure that float's pretty flexible. You want to make sure that float will go up and down. And make sure it's looks pretty clean here. If this is your surface, there's a gasket up above here. You don't want to take that gasket out. It's kind of like an O-ring type gasket all the way around it. If you see gas leaking around this carburetor, then go ahead and pull that gasket out. But sometimes those gaskets are hard to get back in. So what you want to do is just bring it up here, kind of line your mark up. Hold it in place and screw it back in clockwise. Now when you put something back together like this, you always want to, it should go just tighten up easily with your fingers, with your hand. You don't want to put any pressure on it with a wrench, and it should go finger tight. And once you get it up there in place, then but that looks pretty good right there. Then we'll take our 14mm wrench, tighten it up. We're tightening it up clockwise now. You just want to snug it up. If you have a leak or something, if it leaks on you, you can always come back and tighten it up a little bit more. But I always like to just snug it up, because this is pot metal or aluminum, and it will strip out easy. Take our little solenoid that goes down here on the bottom, turn them clockwise, and they should go in easily with just your fingers working them in. Okay, we got them both started clockwise, and we'll use our little stubby, tighten them both up. Anytime you put more than one screw back in, you always want to just kind of go back and forth. Not so much when you start, but when you get this thing just about all the way up, you always want to make sure you don't get anything stripped out or cockeyed it in there. So you want to go back and forth. You know you don't have any of this, either one of the screws cross-threaded. Same here, you want to snug this one up a little bit and then come back over here. Like I told you earlier, I was getting gas running out of my carburetor. Actually, it was coming down the backside. We'll loosen these two nuts back up, and we can put our housing back on, our filter. And I just put these two nuts on just to kind of stabilize the carburetor so I could work on it. Same here, you want to go back and forth when you tighten these nuts up for the carburetor housing. You want to snug them up, not too tight. And we got that on. Then we got to put that nut back here on the back. The 8mm socket. It's best to go back and forth on these. Snug them up. Okay. Put our filter pads back in. We're ready to go. Snap it up. Oh yeah, we got to put this little breather hose back in. It just pushes back down in. We're ready to go. All we have to do, we're ready to start it up, choke it, turn our gas on, switch on the engine, and crank it. It's ready to go. And that's what I did to fix the leak on mine. I just needed to clean that seat out. I hope this helps you out. It sure helped me.